Oscar, if you're going to sit up here, you got to be quiet, okay? He likes to breathe loud. Get comfortable. All right. Welcome back. It has been 1 year since we moved to the mountains. We wanted to give you a little bit of an update on where we are with things, do a little bit of a look back. We like to take some time to reflect when we hit milestones like the 1 year mark. I mean, it's wild to believe that we've been up here for a year already. Time really does fly. So if you're new to our channel,
I'm Skylar. This is my husband Matthew. And these are our dogs, Oscar, Kara, and Bladen. In September of 2021, we bought land on a lake in the mountains of North Carolina with hopes of eventually building our forever home. We both have family in the mountains, and with each visit, our desire to move grew stronger. Matthew would always say, "The mountains are calling my name," and if I'm being honest, they were calling mine too. 2024 was a big year for us. In early June, we started talking about making the move sooner rather than later. We know ourselves, and we'll definitely want to be in the area when we start building our lake house. So why not move now and start building our life in the mountains? We decided to buy a small fixer-upper in the mountains that we'll live in for a few years while we build our lake house. Then when we move, we'll turn it into a rental property. We started looking for homes immediately.
So when we first decided to move to the mountains and started looking for properties, we found the two houses that are side by side. We had made an offer and it was accepted. We were under contract with those houses. While we were waiting for our closing date on those houses, this house that we currently live in came up on the market. So we were already under contract and knew that we wanted to move forward with the other houses, but this house was a much better property for us to live in for a longer period with our lake house a couple years away from starting. So if you take the time that it takes to build a house, which is usually between 1 year to 2 years, depending. We've talked to other people in the area at, our community at the lake, and they've said that it usually takes closer to 2 years to build a house. So 2 years, and then we're probably, even at this point, about 1 year away from starting to build or starting to get more serious about building. So 1 year ago, that would have been 4 years away. So we're at least 4 years away from having a lake house. So we're going to be living in whatever house we chose. We're going to be here for a while. And with the yard in this house, we feel that we could live here much more contently for longer. We have 3 dogs. This yard is much larger than the other yard. And the house didn't need as much work to get into it, which is why we ended up deciding to go ahead and purchase this home as well. Things moved really quickly with this one. We closed on all 3 houses within a week of each other last year, which is really incredible to think of. It was also very terrifying at the time. We've really enjoyed living in this house, but we did a lot of work before moving in to get it to where it is now. So on the exterior, a lot of the things we did were really cosmetic to the actual house. So the siding was in really good condition. We did paint the door and the brick that's around the base of the house. And we painted the shutters. So really very cosmetic things to the exterior of the house itself. The bigger things that we did outside were really related to the overgrowth of the property and just really trying to mitigate some of the drainage issues that we had seen around the house. The front of the house, there was a lot of overgrowth kind of to the front and the side where our patio is now. And we had a company come and use some heavier equipment to really clear a lot of that brush and overgrowth. Once it was cleared, we realized there was a retaining wall in the overgrowth that we didn't realize was there. It was falling down and it needed to be replaced. One thing with these projects, we always say it's the snowball effect. There's always going to be more to a project than you think, especially with an old house. That was a little bit of a snowball that happened outside, but we're really happy that we went ahead and built that retaining wall because it reclaimed a lot of the yard. The yard looks a lot bigger now than it did when we initially bought the house. The other area that we really focused on outside was the parking pad. When we purchased it, it was really just a grassy area, kind of just parking in what looked like a yard. So we really wanted to define that space and make it a little bit more usable, and also kind of expand it a little bit so that we could get at least 3 cars in the parking area. We hired a company who has heavy equipment to do some grade work in that area, and then also bring in a load of gravel to have a really nice parking pad in the front of our house. After that, before moving in, we did build the fence in the backyard, and you can see that on our YouTube channel. So please go check it out if you're interested. You can see how we built, I think it would be considered like a farm fence, maybe a goat fence, something along those lines. We're really happy that we fenced in the yard. Just having 3 dogs, it gives us peace of mind. We can just let them into the backyard. We know that they're safe and secure in our yard. And on the inside of the house, we did quite a few renovations as well. I would say they were mostly cosmetic. Again, this house was in really good condition, better than the other 2 that we purchased. So we really focused our energy on the kitchen and the bathroom. The bedrooms and the living room were in pretty good shape. Really the only thing we did there was in the living room, we removed some paneling that was around the walls and then gave those rooms a fresh coat of paint. This is our living room, complete with dog bed, of course. Matthew's office. And then the bedrooms, the carpet in those rooms were really old, so they were just holding on to a lot of that old smell. We had a company come and install new carpet in those rooms. And this is my office space. So this is a 2-bedroom house. It's also doubling as my closet. So I have a clothing rack over here. And then since our bathroom is so tiny, I have a little vanity where I get ready in the morning, since we have 1 bathroom and it's not big enough for 2. So a little bit of a dual purpose space. Good boy. For the bathroom and the kitchen, Matthew and I did the bulk of the work on those areas. In the bathroom, we kept the bathtub that was there. It's a really nice cast iron bathtub. So we just really updated the space by adding the tile around the bathtub shower area. And we also updated the vanity in the bathroom. Which brings me to the kitchen. This was my favorite part of our renovation inside this house. So the kitchen was very empty. It's quite a large kitchen, but there wasn't a lot in here. There was very minimal cabinetry. There was no dishwasher. We decided that we were going to update the cabinets. So we used secondhand cabinets from the Habitat Restore. We talked about this in our last video. So we did this exact same thing recently at my mom's property. So if you're interested in using secondhand cabinets in a property, you can go check out that video. We talk about exactly like how we figure out what we need and all of that. So definitely check it out. We found a really nice set of used cabinets for our house here that we paid $500 for, and it was a lot of cabinets. So our kitchen has quite a lot of cabinets, and we even had a couple left over. We wanted to have a very large island in our kitchen with bar stools, so we were able to accomplish that with these cabinets and then having an overhang on 2 sides of our island for bar stools. I think that this change was the biggest impact to the renovations that we did in the interior of this home. That pretty much catches us up to where we started our YouTube journey. So if you go back, you will see some of the projects that we were able to tackle. So in December, we took time off work for the holidays and really got started on our fence. So we built a retaining wall that was part of our fence, and then we completely enclosed our backyard. We were able to officially move in January. That didn't stop the projects. We continued to work on projects here and there. We've shown a couple. Some of them were smaller projects around the house, just making it more useful. The other projects that we've done since moving in that you can go back on our YouTube channel and catch up on if you're new here. So we did our laundry area in our kitchen. It was just a hole for a stacked washer dryer. So we really made that space more functional. My absolute favorite project that we have done is our patio space. That has just transformed the way that we live. So that space before was just completely unusable. We literally never went over there. It was muddy and dingy. We really just didn't use that space at all. And now we use our patio space a ton. It has been a very rainy summer, so unfortunately we haven't been able to use it as much as we would have liked, but that's been one of my favorite projects that we've done on this house. I just think that it has just changed the way we live, and it's made our home feel bigger, truly, because of the indoor-outdoor space that we now have. So that's what we've been able to accomplish in the last year in this house. We haven't shown as many projects on our other two houses, so we wanted to give you a little bit of an update on those as well. So where do I start? So the last update that I think we gave was when the roofers were there. And that was the first phase of the projects that we had hired a contractor to do. The scope that we hired our contractors to complete was really getting the houses weather tight, which included the roofs, the windows and door replacement, and the siding. The relationship with that contractor went south pretty quickly. So progress has gone much slower on those houses than we had anticipated. Our thought process initially was that it would be faster for us to hire contractors to do some of the projects at the other house. At this point, they're not even weather tight. It's really discouraging to say that because it's been months. So after the roof was done, the workers showed up and started working on the doors and windows. At this point, most of the doors and windows have been replaced. Siding was installed on one of the houses, but this is really where we started to lose confidence in our contractor because we started to notice a lot of issues with the siding installation and voicing concern. We've tried to work with them. We've tried to schedule appointments to, talk with them and show them the things that we were concerned about. We were just so past the timeline that they told us. We were not getting a lot of response from the contractor, nor were they addressing our concerns with it being installed incorrectly. And that's when we decided to part ways with our contractor. I mean, it took us a while to work through that with the contractor because obviously they had completed some of the work. We didn't feel right not paying for anything. We kind of paused on all of the work for several weeks while we worked out with the contractor exactly what we were paying for in terms of the scope that they completed, the scope that they didn't complete, and then the scope that wasn't completed correctly. At this point, we've really kind of come to an agreement with them, like what we're going to pay for. And then we ran into a situation after kind of all of that was resolved that one of the roofs started leaking. That was able to be mitigated. Luckily, we hadn't started putting any insulation in the house yet. So really it was, just fix it and it's fine. So that's where we are now with that contractor. We have hired out our own subs as well. So for doing the plumbing, the HVAC, and then the electrical. So the plumbing is completed and has passed inspection. The HVAC is installed, still pending inspection, and then the electrical is still being installed, and we'll need to get the inspection after. So we'll do the HVAC and the electrical inspection at the same time. So we're just kind of waiting on the electrical to be finished to do the HVAC inspection. So the siding work that I mentioned from that contractor is only on one of the houses. The other house, the windows and doors and the roof have been done, but the siding has not been completed yet. So we've decided that we're really going to focus on the one house to get that house completely done since it's further along. Our goal is to get that house completely finished and rented out, and then we'll refocus on the blue house. So our original idea was just to have them both done at the same time, but with this situation with the contractor where things were delayed, I mean, it was just easier to keep progress going on one of the houses because it had been demoed already. So the walls were opened up. It was much easier to have the electrical, the plumbing, and HVAC redone and installed on that one house. So we are going to continue progress on the one house. And at this point, we've really decided to finish the work ourselves. We are going to really try to get this project going on our own. So we'll bring you along for that project. The next phase, once all of the inspections have been completed, we'll be able to start on the insulation and the drywall. I'm not sure if it's everywhere, but in North Carolina, at least, the insulation also has to be inspected. So that's our next step, is to get the insulation in, have it inspected. Once it's inspected, we'll be able to start the drywall. Once the drywall goes in, I feel like that's the part that where I'll start getting really motivated. The plumbing and things, it's not like exciting, but I feel like once the drywall is in, it really starts, like, the vision comes to life. Things will start to progress much faster. So once the drywall is in, we can install the flooring, we can install cabinetry and the light fixtures. So really it'll start moving very quickly once that stage hits. So that is what we've been up to for the past year. There's definitely been some ups and some downs. It's been a learning experience. We've been able to make a lot of progress, but it's also really tested us, and we've learned a lot from the experience. We're learning as we go, and we made the choice to do the work ourselves now, which it's a difficult decision because we thought hiring a contractor that we would be able to just, fully put it in their hands and the work would get done a lot quicker and, it would be less stress on us. It's just so disheartening because we are fully capable of doing the work that we are paying them to do, but it would obviously take us a lot longer. At this point, with all of the delays that we've had with the contractors, we think that if we had chosen to do the work ourselves from the beginning, we could have been further along, just us working on it on the weekends and after work. It was a hard decision to make, but I think it's the right one for us to just, take the work back, just to do it ourselves and really try to progress this. It will save money in the long run. And we know the work will be done right because we're going to be the ones doing it. That's really where we are a year later. We've learned a lot from these projects. My skills have grown tremendously since living up here for the past year. And it's not all about our projects. It's about the life that we're building here. So this summer we've enjoyed the lake that we will eventually live on. I've been able to help my mom and my grandmother. They've been doing some canning. By no means am I like a heavy lifter on that. They have done a lot of canning this summer. I helped with the sauerkraut, getting it ready to go in the crocks for fermenting. So really, I've just had, for some reason, I'm getting a little emotional just thinking about it, like the past year. It's not even about properties. It's about family, right? So that was the main reason that we wanted to be up here. And really our motivation for the lake house. So we want the lake house for us, but really, the vision of it for our future is to be able to host family. And we have nieces and nephews who will be able to enjoy it. And they're very young now. If we build the lake house within the next few years, they're always going to have memories of coming to our house and being at the lake. And, I had the opportunity to go to a lake nearby in the mountains here of North Carolina during the summers when I was a child. And I mean, it was just such core memories that it created for me. And I want to be able to give that to my nephews and nieces. So I'm really excited to be up here and starting to build this life, getting to see my family more. So it definitely was a scary decision, but there's not a day that we regret it. Our decision to move wasn't for the life that we're living today. It's for the vision of the life at the lake house that we will have in a few years. Matthew and I, when we moved up here, we started a mantra really to get us through on the hard days when things aren't going our way. We had this mantra that we would say that we're sacrificing now for later, and that's really been our mentality. Most days don't feel like a sacrifice because we truly are very happy living in the mountains. We're happy to be close to family. We're happy to be able to go out onto the lake, and it's been a great experience. It's been a growing experience, and we're really excited for the journey. For me, that's what it's all about. Yes, I'm excited for that, kind of destination, that goal of the lake house, but the journey has been so much fun, and we're excited to bring you along with us. We hope that you've enjoyed our videos. If you're new here, go back to the beginning and watch our story, watch our projects, and just see how far we've come. We haven't come as far as we would have liked in a year, but it is what it is. We'll get there eventually, and I'm excited for the journey, and we hope you are too. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.